Hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on In-Facility Logistics 4.0, how Tata Communications and Syook are revolutionizing operational efficiency. I'm so glad you were able to make it to the webinar today. We have installed something very, very exciting for you. We have two amazing speakers with you who will be explaining you how Tata Communications and Syook have actually combined and helping the industry at large so as to make operations far better than what they are. All right, my name is Deej Fukan and I am the VP of Marketing. I would like to introduce Arjun Nagarajan. He is the CEO of the company Syook. So we also have Mr. Rajiv Desai. He's the head of sales, solution, and products at Tata Communication in the IoT business. So Arjun, can I humbly request you to please take over and continue with the webinar?
Thank you, Dij, and thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Arjun. I am the co-founder and CEO of Syook. At Syook, we build an operational intelligence platform that is based on IoT, right? And we are very fortunate to have Tata Communications as one of our partners. And I would like to extend a warm welcome and a special thank you to Rajiv, who's the head of the IoT business unit. Thank you so much, Rajiv, for joining us. And Rajiv, can we talk a little bit about all these buzzwords that we are hearing, right? There is IoT, there is Industry 4.0, there is digital transformation, and a lot of these terms are being thrown around. But in reality, what are the trends that you see while working across most of the companies in India implementing IoT projects?
Thanks, Arjun, and thanks all of you for joining this webinar. Look, what in the last 1 year, it has been a tectonic shift across globally, right? In terms of whatever the pandemic came in, a lot of companies started working remotely, and that's when the importance of digital or the importance of automating your operations actually seeped in. Some of the trends, at least what we have been observing in the market, is obviously companies do want to go digital as soon as possible. They are looking towards building control centers, trying to build remote automation models around it. Borderless workspace, right? All of us, in fact, I'm pretty sure most of us right now are working either through a home office or through a work from home kind of a model. So borderless workspaces, which was earlier a phenomenon only on the technology companies, is now becoming the new norm as we go along. Obviously, for all the operational side of the story and all the operational companies, going capex light, keeping hold of the cash has become the new and the new norm and also the new priority as such. Now, these are some of the new normals that we are seeing, right? As far as technology goes, there are a lot of trends, Arjun, what you mentioned, right? And you did touch upon a few buzzwords like Internet of Things, digital 4.0 or industry 4.0. Industrial IoT is another buzzword which keeps on coming around. But for us, or what we are seeing in the market, the most important buzzword that is going around right now is on operational efficiencies. How can we enable more operational efficiencies? How can we ensure that we cut any kind of slack that is there in our processes, in the way we operate? And that's what eventually all the companies are focusing. Obviously, there are multiple different technologies which are supporting them, IoT being one of them. There is an extensive use of machine learning and AI trying to see what can be improved upon. Industry 4.0 obviously is the overarching theme that goes around, and a lot of these technologies start feeding into this. But more importantly, what is also we are seeing is advent of digitizing supply chains. What has happened is because of this entire, what happened through COVID, various travel curves going around, the entire supply chain started getting disrupted, right? A product which was supposed to get out into the market in a 3-month, 4-month time cycle, the entire time cycles went into a toss. Even within the plants, the way you manage your logistics, the way you manage your overall WIP inventory, or the way you manage any kind of incoming traffic into that also is actually getting completely disrupted. And that is where at least I see the next wave of change happening. And I think that's what this webinar is all about, which is all about how do you automate your in-facility logistics and in-facility operations, Arjun. So that's where I believe that's where it's going.
Thank you, Rajiv. So, insight, right? So let's talk a little bit about digital supply chain, right? And one of the things that we are doing to ensure a seamless supply chain, especially across manufacturing facilities, is using the real-time location platform of Syook to do in-facility logistics and give contextual alerts and contextual insights, right? We have worked together with a lot of companies on this, and we are working together with a lot more. So at this stage, I would like to ask Rajiv a question on what is the kind of response that he sees when he goes out and talks about digital supply chain automation, especially in the context of in-plant logistics, in-facility logistics. What does the problem look like? What are the common challenges that his customers face?
Yeah. So thanks, Arjun, for asking this question. And look, this is a very relevant question. And as I mentioned, last 1 year has been a tectonic shift in customer priorities as such. Earlier, when we used to go about, in-plant logistics, we used to hear, and I used to sit across a lot of consultants. Like, for example, a McKinsey consultant once told me that, plants can look into an Uber kind of a model. So if I have a forklift staying somewhere, I could have an Uber kind of a model which can tell this forklift is available, you can leverage and all. And the plant heads used to tell us, "Hey boss, there's no point here. I mean, why do you want to do that automation? And it does not make sense." And also there was always a resistance towards adopting some of these things, because obviously their core focus was towards actually just doing the manufacturing side of the story. What this pandemic has actually mentioned is now that there are limited number of people inside the plant. Secondly, you are looking at each and every bucket of cost which you can actually save, and which translates into your overall ROI that actually comes out. Everybody's looking into some of these processes, which is your entire in-plant logistics, because all said and done, that is one low-hanging fruit, because that is something which does not interfere with your core manufacturing process, but at the same time has a significant amount of cost lying around, right? So that's the big change which that's the one change which I'm seeing in the market. I'm seeing a lot of inquiries coming around it, a lot of PSUs, and that's something which is very encouraging. Generally, government PSUs are slow to react to some of these things. With due respect to the PSUs, they have been actually somewhat leading the pack in terms of actually rolling out a lot of tenders which are related to in-plant logistics management, right from truck in, truck out kind of a use case. That how can you ensure trucks coming in, trucks going out? How do you ensure optimizing their entire value chain? And how do you ensure that you get the real-time information and you make decisions on the fly? At the same time, in-plant WIP inventory, so inventory in terms of heavy machinery movement within your plants, or any kind of inventory which is in process. How do you ensure that they spend minimal time at a particular station, and eventually how do you measure efficiencies there? And obviously the Uber kind of a model which I talked about, that is something which is also coming up, that I have 5 dumpers or 5 trucks inside my plant, 5 vehicles. I want to ensure that they're efficiently used, monitored, and maintained. So these use cases now are actually getting a lot more traction. And really, I think from an overall ecosystem perspective, a lot of players providing these kind of solutions. But happy to partner with Syook and at least bring this entire solution in a very collaborative manner and a co-creation manner with the customers as well.
Right. Thanks, Rajiv. So one thing that you mentioned, I would like to pick on, right? You mentioned that truck in, truck out is a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And what I would like to know, and through your various interactions with different stakeholders in different organizations, right? Why is this a low-hanging fruit, and how is this use case shaping up, right? How is the partnership also shaping up between Syook and Tata Communications?
So let me answer this in 3 ways. Okay, when I say low-hanging fruit, it's low-hanging fruit in terms of something which we can deploy immediately and which can be, the results can be seen very quickly. Right. Generally, when you talk about a manufacturing like an automation or like an industrial IoT kind of a solution, or something to do with any kind of process monitoring and measurement, it's a long drawn cycle. in terms of deployment, understanding, and eventually getting results out of it. In an Indian context, when you talk about an Indian context, we all are familiar with the word jugaad, right? At the end of the day, we want something which has an instant gratification and an instant benefit that I will be able to see. Now, this is one use case which we believe is something which can give any company that. We see long waiting lines outside the truck. I mean, the other day I was in a steel plant, right, in a government PSU, and they said to me that, look, I understand this solution. We understand the benefit. Our biggest problem is that at any given point in time, there are 2,000 trucks waiting in line outside my plant, and I need to tell a particular truck driver that it is your turn to come inside the plant. Please go to this location. Please go to that. And managing the traffic itself is a huge pain. And when such solution comes into picture, we can automate that entire process, right? It at least gives them that feeling, okay, this is something which they can do very quickly. It's not high in volume in terms of the number of trucks that come in or number of logistics that come in. At the same time, it has a direct benefit in terms of traffic management, direct benefit in terms of faster loading, unloading. And that all of these trickles keep on adding towards the larger benefit of faster, providing a material faster to the market, or at least ensuring that your raw material and everything actually comes very quickly inside just in time kind of a model. So this is where at least I believe that this is one low-hanging fruit. And again, not that I believe it's something which I also am listening from the customers that, guys, let's start with this use case, because as Tata Communications and as Syook, we have a bunch of use cases, but this is one use case which typically the customer really gets excited and says, this is what I want to do. Immediate gratification, very quick deployment, and at the same time, these solutions what we deploy, technically they are far more superior in terms of providing the right data at the right time compared to a lot more other solutions which are already there in the market. I mean, I'm not disrespecting any solution. At the end of the day, all of them try to solve the same problem, but at least the end-to-end cohesiveness that actually it brings out, that sort of, at least at this point in time, we believe that it has a lot of merit towards deploying some of these things.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for your insights into what's going on in the IoT space, what's going on in the digital supply chain space, and kind of how this partnership between Syook and Tata Communications is shaping up, and some of the key concerns that our customers are trying to address using a very quickly deployable solution to solve a burning problem, I would say. Yeah. Right. So thank you so much, Rajiv. I have no further questions, and I would like to turn it over to Dheeraj and all of you to please take this opportunity to ask Rajiv a few questions and take things from there. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to answering your questions and taking things from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the webinar. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Rajiv. I think that was very insightful. We'll open the floor for questions now. All you have to do is either just raise your hands or just let us know on the chat if you'd like to ask a question. We will unmute you, or you can simply type it in the chat box, and we will pick it up and ask the relevant speaker. Thank you, everybody, again for joining the webinar. Looking forward for many such webinars with you. Thank you.